If you're looking for a unique wine experience, check out Burned Out Winery. Founded by a team of siblings who turned their passion for winemaking into a thriving business. They focus on crafting exceptional small batch wines from Moscato to tart cherry and spiced apple to their delightful sangrias. There's something for everyone. Each bottle tells a story, complete with a creative name that reflects their journey. Their wines are not only fantastic, but they're also affordable, making them a great choice for any occasion. You can easily order online at burnedoutwinery.com or connect with them on Facebook. They deliver. Whether you're local or out of state, they'll ship right to your front door. Support this hardworking team and savor the taste of Burned Out Winery. This is Big Sturge with American Whiskey. Discover the taste of freshness at Schoolhouse Farms. Join Vaughn Davis and Beth Cole, passionate bird watchers and friends from York County, Maine, as they transform their love for nature into a thriving business. Since 2016, they have been dedicated to growing and distributing premium sunflower kernels, oils, gourmet popcorn, and heirloom grain products like corn, flour, and grits. What do they offer? Birdseed suppliers, high quality black oil sunflower seeds for local markets. Food retailers, a selection of sunflower oils, roasted kernels, gourmet popcorn, and heirloom cornmeal. Online shoppers enjoy gourmet popcorn and confection sunflower kernels from the comfort of your home. Floral markets, stunning sunflowers for Ohio-based florists. Distillers, specialty grains for brewing and distillation. Popcorn vendors, are you a kettle corn vendor? Talk to Vaughn or Beth about supplying your business with the lowest cost, high quality mushroom popcorn in the industry. Taste the difference. Customers can shop for delicious sunflower kernels, popcorn, flavored oils, and heirloom cornmeal and grits directly on their website or at selected retail stores and farmers markets across Ohio, Indiana, Maine, and New Hampshire. Their name pays tribute to the historic Freysinger School, built in 1862 on Davis Farms property. This one-room schoolhouse has a rich history, having served the community until 1939. Are you ready to connect? If there's an exciting opportunity to discuss, they would love to hear from you. Follow Schoolhouse Farms on Facebook today and become part of the community. This is Big Sturge with American Whiskey. Whiskey Sip and Solve, where we explore the stories that shape our nation over a good drink. I'm your host, Big Sturge, and alongside me, as always, we've got Justice League, of course. And
how's it going, guys?
And the one and only Peanut.
What's up, everybody?
And tonight, we're going to dive into a tragic and complex event that shook the heart of America. The Las Vegas shooting at the Mandalay Bay Casino on October 1st, 2017. And before we go any farther today, I want to let anybody know that's listening that this is a case like no other. All these cases are something that, we don't take lightly. And, if you're sensitive to these things, I urge you to check us out on Tuesdays.
Correct.
On a good episode. So, well, on that fateful evening, a warm autumn night filled with the sounds.
We're good.
Of laughter and music turned into a horrific scene. Thousands gathered for the Route 91 Harvest Festival. This was a festival that celebrated country music that brought so many people from all walks of life together in one place. But this crowd, they enjoyed the performances, but a nightmare unfolded just a short distance away. And at 10:05, gunfire erupts. Stephen Paddock, a seemingly ordinary man, unleashes a hail of bullets from the 32nd floor of Mandalay Bay Hotel. And in the matter of minutes, 58 lives were taken and over 800 people were injured, making this the deadliest mass shooting in modern history in the United States.
To truly understand the gravity of this tragedy, we need to examine the timeline of events. Paddock had meticulously planned the attack, checking into the hotel days in advance. He brought an arsenal of weapons, a total of 23 firearms, including semi-automatic rifles and thousands of rounds of ammunition.
Witnesses described the chaos that night. Initially, many thought the sounds of gunfire were fireworks. But as the shooting continued, panic set in. People began to drop on the ground, taking cover, and some heroically tried to help others escape. First responders faced a scene of utter devastation as they rushed in to aid the wounded.
Sunday, the 2017, 22:14 and 50 seconds.
911 emergency, report 15952. You need police, fire, or medical?
Police, this is Mandalay Bay Security Dispatch. We have an active shooter in room 32135.
32135?
Yeah, 32nd floor, Mandalay Bay, 135.
Hang on 1 second. I mean, we're getting a lot of calls.
I understand.
Do you have a description at all?
No, it is actually inside the room. We have managers below the floor and above the floor. It is at the very end of the hallway. Pretty much they can just hear, it sounds like semi-automatic rapid fire.
Okay.
And we actually have an officer that has been hit. We already called paramedics for that one, though.
Yeah. We have everybody on the way.
What is it?
Is he by himself in the room? Do you know?
Actually, it's all barricaded. We don't know what's going on inside the room.
Okay.
The aftermath revealed not just the physical toll, but also the emotional scars left on the survivors and the families of the victims. It sparked national conversation about gun control, mental health, and the broader implications of violence in America.
So let's comprehend why such a tragic tragedy occurred here in the United States. But first, we must dive into the past of Stephen Paddock. You know, he was born on April 9th, 1953 in Clinton, Iowa. Paddock grew up in a family marked by instability, and his father was a notorious bank robber, which I thought was a very interesting fact, and leading to a childhood filled with uncertainty and frequent moves.
Paddock was described as intelligent and ambitious. He earned a degree in business administration and built a successful career as an accountant. However, his passion for gambling led him to Las Vegas, where he became a high-stakes player. Over the years, he accumulated a significant amount of wealth, providing him with the means to live a lavish lifestyle. Paddock was married twice and had a son from his first marriage, but his relationship was often troubled. He spent years with Mary Lou Danley, a woman he met in a casino. The relationship appeared stable on the surface, but those close to him noted that he was deeply private. He was a deeply private individual, often keeping his emotions and thoughts to himself.
So before we dive any farther into this case here, there were some things I wanted to do prior to getting in any deeper in this. One of the things I wanted to do was show spotlight off of like national news networks, Las Vegas news networks, you know, whether California news networks, Ohio networks. But when I went into it, I started realizing what they were just hours within, and then days after this horrific massacre.
Right.
I realized that, you know, Las Vegas news was saying one thing. Then I was listening to national news networks, and I realized they were saying something else. And then, you know, so I decided not to play anything from the news networks because it was just so hard to get things that made sense. And obviously there's zero making sense of this tragedy and why he did it. But I don't know what your guys' take is thus far where we're at. But, you know, it seems like, you know, he had a troubled childhood. His dad was a bank robber. I didn't actually know that until I started looking back into this case. But who knows what he went through as a child.
Right.
There's not a whole lot of stuff out there about it. There's not a lot of stuff about him and actually available.
Well,
to read about.
He was kind of unknown.
Yeah.
Well, he was, but he wasn't. So some of the stuff I've read is outside of Vegas, like you said, Peanut, he was unknown. From what we've already read, obviously he'd been to Vegas multiple times. He made a lifestyle of it.
He was an online, so he played machine poker is what it was.
Yep.
But once he started going to Vegas, I read that he always stayed at Mandalay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not far-fetched to believe he was recognized by them. He felt comfortable by them.
Well, it's almost like having a Kroger's Plus card.
Right.
You know, you go to this place so much, you rack up these points.
He was a high roller.
He was a high roller. And that's how they described him, was a high roller.
Which one thing I've read is part of the way he got the weapons up there is they helped him carry it.
Yeah.
Because they were comfortable. They knew he visits there often.
And
he was a frequent flyer. He had rewards.
Yeah.
Like he was a reward member of them. So of course they're going to take care of him.
Before we dive into Shay's comment here, just people that are listening on Apple Podcasts and stuff later. We've got comments here that we're probably going to end up addressing. But before we address this one, Peanut, take it away.
What was particularly unsettling is that Paddock had no prior criminal record or documented history of mental illness. Yet his fascination with firearms was alarming. In the years leading up to the shooting, he purchased more than 30 guns legally, often using his wealth and acquired high-powered rifles and large quantities of ammunition.
So we see that. So let's dive back in. So we see the fact that, this guy is legally purchasing firearms and ammunition. You just said it, Peanut.
Right to bear arms, right?
He didn't have anything that was a red flag.
Yeah.
Okay. So how does something like this happen? Well, I think it's actually quite simple. He acquired them legally, the weapons, the ammo. He had no prior convictions, nothing on his record to prevent that from happening. And as a law-abiding citizen, right, you have the right to do that. So how did this happen? Paddock's ability to acquire the weapons legally highlights a significant gap in the system. Many advocates argue that stricter gun control measures could have potentially prevented this tragedy. The lack of comprehensive background checks and the ability to buy firearms at gun shows without, any scrutiny or critical aspects of this conversation. But that's what the media is saying. I didn't necessarily want to hit this hard, but I want to, because again, this had nothing to do with gun shows. This had nothing to do with illegally buying firearms.
Right.
This had nothing to do with breaking the law prior to this happening. Prior to the moment that he shot out that window at thousands of concert goers, nothing broke the law. So where's the scrutiny at? Are we upset that he easily was able to buy them legally? You listen to when I wrote this script, I listened to the media and what they all had to say. And they just kept saying it's so easy to buy guns. You can go to gun shows in Ohio or here or wherever and buy these guns super easy. You can go and you can buy this ammunition super easy. But that's not the case here. He went to gun stores. You and I talked about this.
Right.
He legally possessed these firearms outside of those problems, right?
You're 100% right there, Sturge. And the discussion on gun control is not new to America. This shown the most light into it that's ever happened. But anytime there's a school shooting, anything along those natures, it brings in gun control conversations into spotlight.
And I think this is a different type of one, because it's not like Stephen Paddock went to his dad's gun safe and was able to get it and then went and shot up a concert.
Right.
It's not like he went to a gun show and purchased these guns. The dude legally purchased them at a gun store, had a clear record. But if you look back far enough, and now we know dad was a famous bank robber. It sounds like he was a bit awkward.
Right.
With people. Like,
he wouldn't look people in the eye. He always looked down.
Right. He was just and you know what? I'm not saying that makes a shooter, right? But were there signs that the system couldn't pick up? Do you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
So we can't, all these news networks, when this was going on, all they wanted to do was argue about gun control. If this guy didn't legally buy these guns, I promise you this, he had a path of destruction in his mind and would have found a way to purchase these guns.
With the wealth he had and everything, he would have had the weapons no matter what.
And that's kind of what my point is. So, Peanut, take us away.
I'm going to take over there.
Yeah, go ahead. You go ahead.
So, following the shooting, the debate intensified. Many states initiated discussions around measures such as universal background checks, ban on bump stocks, devices that allow semi-automatic weapons to fire rapidly, and other regulations aimed at reducing gun violence.
Okay, so we got a producer over here. That top right button on the soundboard. Go ahead and play that real fast. Play it one more time. Okay, it'll play again. Sorry. Okay. All right, play that one more time. That is not a fully automatic weapon.
It is not.
No.
It sounds like it, right?
He's
In a way.
just shooting fast.
That is a bump stock.
Yep.
So every time now, and I know you know a lot about weapons. What I've learned is the fact. So what it does is it bumps it and it bumps it and it bumps it forward and it pulls that trigger. So every time that gun releases the shell out of the gun, it jolts forward and continues to shoot as if it's a fully automatic weapon.
Yeah.
Pretty
What
much one trigger pulls 2 shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and he's just
Basically,
boom, boom,
what
boom,
it's
boom,
doing is it's like a spring in there. So every time that gun recoils, it kicks it back where the finger hits it again.
and
so
so
it
you
just-
can just hold your finger down
Yep, and it's going to
and let it rip.
release and go, release and go. Yeah, and, you know, it's this. He knew what he was doing. You
Well-
know, he had it planned. And if you know, playing the gunshots, if you actually look at it, you know, they had 20 some guns in there with them.
27, I believe it was, and thousands of rounds of ammo.
If you actually listen to the whole thing and the whole timeline, there's about 20 to 30 seconds between each burst of ammo.
and what
Or
was that?
each
So
shots, which was probably the time it took him to go grab another gun.
that
and
was
start
already
firing
loaded up,
again.
probably.
Everything had to be already loaded up.
Okay, so and you know, I didn't understand. You know, I'm a gun guy myself, but I didn't understand how he was able to shoot those rounds off until I looked up the functionality of a bump stock,
Right.
and I realized I was like, okay, this dude was releasing havoc on and you know, with all those buildings around, I'm sure it was echoing off. You hear in one of the 911 calls we heard, you can hear it in the background. They were like, there's multiple shooters. Anthony Kelly said 47 what?
I'm guessing he's saying 47 different weapons.
Yeah, 27, I think it was, I thought. But either way,
He had 27 there, but he had a bunch more at his
Yeah.
house.
zero doubt in my mind.
And
But,
he had, you know, he went through about 1,000 rounds there, but he also had another 2,000 rounds
Right.
in that hotel room.
That was
So
unused. Yeah.
he was planning something major.
So we're talking about gun control and all this. Well, the grassroots movement sprang up across the country demanding change. Now, the survivors of the Las Vegas shooting itself became advocates for gun reform. They shared their stories of pushing for legislation that could save lives. I mean, you know,
Yeah, but not only about gun laws, mental health awareness also plays a critical role. Experts argue that understanding the mental state of an individual who commits such acts is vital. Paddock had no known mental illness, yet many believe there were warning signs that went unnoticed.
so when we talk about this, what could we have done to prevent this tragedy? And when I say we, I mean the government, the people of the state. What could they have done? They could increase, you know, funding for the mental health programs, better training for law enforcement to recognize the potential threats, and the community outreach initiatives that could contribute to a safer environment. And Anthony Kelly, do you know Anthony Kelly?
Yes, my cousin.
Okay, so there was like 23 to 27 guns accounted for in the hotel room. But either way,
Yeah, it was 24 guns were found in Paddock's room.
23 to
At
27
Mandalay
is
Bay.
the report that you'll find.
Additional 18 guns were found in his Mesquite residence and 7 in his home in Reno. So right around 40 something.
But the communities have had a significant role to play in prevention programs that encourage open dialogue about mental health, support those in the crises, right? In the community engagement that can create the culture for awareness.
So as we remember the victims of the Las Vegas shooting, we must also recognize the impact on the community and the nation as a whole. Each victim had a story, a life full of dreams and aspirations. They were not just numbers. They were individuals who were taken too soon.
And you know, when we look at this tragedy, I want you to think about the people that were at the Route 91 show. Jason Aldean was on stage. He's playing a song. I took my son to a Jelly Roll concert. We were enjoying the music. I can't help but wonder to myself, how many kids were at that show?
Right.
How many grandmas and grandpas was at that show? How many different people of life was there?
And how many people live life different today than they did then because of the fear of what could happen?
Well, and you know, you go to hear, you know, you hear the news. They brought out all these 911 calls and all these phone footages of the concert. And you hear some people, when these gunshots are happening, people are like, stop, stop, stop. It's not gunshots. It's fireworks.
Yeah.
It's this. Well, what if we educate the public on what a gunshot sounds like?
Correct.
Because in my eyes, Phil, I don't know about you, I know the difference between
the firework and a gunshot.
There's a huge distinct difference between a crack of a AR, pistol, anything like that, and a boom of a firework.
and it's heartbreaking because, you know, in between those, what'd you say, 30 seconds in between,
Anywhere from 20 to 30 seconds.
People just didn't know what to do. Like, was it gunfire or was it not gunfire? They're confused. They don't know what to do at this point. They're not sure where the fucking shots are coming from. So they're, a lot of the time, they're just crowded in there and they're sitting ducks. Like, there's not enough.
And like you said, they're thinking it's fireworks. So he's just spraying throughout the crowd. You're assuming the fireworks until someone drops beside you and is bleeding all over.
Yeah.
But even then, someone drops beside you. I'm sure, like we talked about before we even started tonight, with all the buildings around and everything and the echoes and stuff like that, run, hide, fight goes out the window. If you don't know where the shots are coming from, you might be hiding on the wrong side of a barrier.
Well, and I said earlier, I said if I was in something like an active shooter position, you know, and I'm one of those people at the mall or wherever it is, I'd want to fight back. Dylan, you said, well, how do you fight back when someone's 32 stories high?
When you just hear cracking and you have no clue where it's coming from.
Because it's going to echo off of them buildings and this and that, and the buildings is going to project a sound in different directions.
So in the wake of this tragedy, I believe that we have a responsibility to honor the memories by advocating for change. And whether you're a gun right guy or if you're not, or the fight for gun control and mental health awareness is ongoing, and it requires a collective effort. It requires thinking outside the box. And as we wrap up the storyline here, let's reflect on the lessons learned from this Las Vegas shooting. It serves as a stark reminder of the need for being, you know, the vigilance and the compassion, the actions in the face of violence. We must come together and create a safer future for everyone. Now, what is that? What does that look like? It's hard. Do you take the guns from the American people? No, you can't do that. That's not the answer. How do we stop future Stephen Paddocks from raising fucking hell at a concert that people of all different walks of life are attending, having a good time? They're having the beers. They're in the casino. I saw that Jason Aldean's DJs was there, and his son, his little baby, was in the room right across the hall from where this was happening.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you're at in life. This can affect you. It doesn't matter whether you make $1 million a year or if you're. We saw that the one of the guards there he was one of the first people shot.
Mm-hmm.
He heard something. He goes up there. He ends up getting shot in the hallway. Everyone in every walk of life attended this concert, and so many different people were affected by it. Whether they got shot, saw somebody get shot, whether they were working at the Mandalay Bay. At one point, there were 6 different places that they thought gunshots were coming from. There was one of the casinos. At first, the officers went to a different casino.
Right.
They thought the shots were coming from there. And when I went to go, you guys know I spent a lot of time into researching these episodes, and this was, I have about 6 of them lined up that I've been looking into, and this one was the most confusing as far as going and listening to media. Just your cousin just said it. His response was there was 47 guns in the hotel. I've always wondered why not just reload. And then a couple minutes later, he says, "Sorry, I just read a misleading news title." It takes one fucking news title.
And it fucks everything up. And
what really happened that day?
And Sturge, I want to hit on Shay's comment earlier. You said, how did he get it past all the security? And Shay, I want to challenge you this. Have you ever been to a casino? Because all they do is they check your ID and you're in.
How many hotels? They don't even check your ID when you go in.
But what I'm saying is there's no...
And he was a frequent... You said high roller.
He was a high roller.
They knew who he was.
Quite a
but
bit.
what I'm getting at here is a hotel and a casino. There's no metal detectors. Their only security is when you go into the casino, they make sure you're 21.
They don't even make sure. They just make sure you're 21 to gamble. You can be 18 to go in there.
Right. In a hotel casino.
But here's the point. You called him a high roller. That's what they all called him, was a high roller. Good job, man. They stopped reading the fake
That's
news.
my other cousin.
Yeah. I mean, you got to...
He's giving him shit.
You got a high roller.
He's giving Anthony shit for reading fake news.
Me?
No, my cousin.
Oh, okay.
Those are both my cousins.
Well, here's the thing. He was family at the Mandalay Bay. He was a high roller there. Dude made fucking millions of dollars there. When he walked in there, they salute him. They take his bags. Guess what? They carried those bags up to his fucking room.
They even took him up on the service elevator.
Yep.
And, he's staying there a whole week ahead of time before this happened. So, would they really notice him? Because he comes and goes with bags all the time. Is he carrying empty bags out to load them back up? And they're assuming he just moving clothes around or what?
So I disagree with that, Jen.
Jen, I completely disagree with you as well.
Have you ever held an AR? They're not that heavy.
They're not.
No.
So if he was there for a week, who knows if he took the bags out empty and refilled them?
If they know he's going to stay there for 2 weeks, I think he booked it for a 2-week stay.
Yeah.
He's got shit in there.
And I mean, you're not going to carry all the bags up. I mean, you're going to have... I think
this was a 2-week period where he was carrying shit up, or a 1-week period.
But they're going on, one of them luggage carts.
Yeah.
And going up on luggage carts.
What are you going to do? Question a guy that's been coming in for how many years that makes millions of dollars that pays your salary?
Because I would be willing to bet my weeks or my 2-week salary that he was tipping these bell guys
100%
well enough where they're not going to question the weight of a bag.
And plus, they're on wheels. You're not picking it up. They're not picking these things up, dude. No. I mean, at the end of the day, here's not funny. This is nothing funny about this, but I used to have a traveling job, and I would go all over the place. And I will tell you this. There was sometimes, like, I'm not proud of this, but like I'd go over somewhere to stay for a couple weeks. I'd buy things, I'd put them in my suitcase, and I would go to take them home, right? Not at any point when I rolled that did I feel a weight difference. Like when you're on now, when you go to pick it up, put it in a trunk, or you go to listen, people do away with dead bodies in suitcases, and people still don't fucking know there's a dead body in there. And those weigh every bit of 200 pounds sometimes. Like, I mean, luckily they don't stuff me in one. But
I mean, an AR is so light that you're not going to notice a difference. He could fit, I would say, upwards of 10 ARs in a huge bag, and no one will question it.
I can, I got a big duffel bag that I use when I go out of town. And if I fill that up,
I dumped it out once.
Yeah.
That
The
big
one I had.
Yeah.
Just mine and Levi's clothes in that. You probably get 6.
That's a
6
duffel
to
bag. You have
8.
to carry that.
Yeah, you can
You
get
didn't
6
bring in
to
a duffel bag.
but you can get 6 to 8 ARs in that same bag and weigh about the same weight.
Oh, no doubt
Right.
about it. No doubt.
And Shay,
So, I
to hit
mean-
on your comment right there,
Read it first.
you said, I think one of the conspiracies was how did he break the window in his room? Those windows are damn near bulletproof.
Damn near. They're
Because
not.
of the wind and vibration of the building. There was also proof from the responding officers, the FBI, and everyone that was there that he had explosives. So who's to say that people just forgot the fact they heard a little explosive before he started shooting?
Well, and here's the thing. We don't know. Are they damn near bulletproof? I don't think we know that for a fact, but damn near doesn't make them bulletproof.
They're not. I mean, it would cost a fortune to put bulletproof glass in a hotel. I mean, they're thick.
Yeah.
They're a lot thicker.
You can't break it with a chair.
No.
But you put a 5.56 round through that thing, it's going to.
Oh, yeah.
There's no.
I mean, they're even. I listened to this pretty much the whole shooting timeline. You can tell the difference in guns.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's where you get that conspiracy. Was there multiple shooters? There's people to this day that were at that. Jason Aldean even said there was multiple shooters. I mean, now that he looks back, he's like, it sounded like there was, but there's still people to this day that attended that concert that say there was multiple shooters.
And not to change the subject here, Shay.
I'm not trying to touch on these conspiracies, but
they also said the Titanic was unsinkable. Look what happened.
True.
Was that a government conspiracy?
That's what I'm saying. There's so many things.
No, there's a conspiracy on that one now.
There is?
Oh, God.
Yeah, because that wasn't actually the Titanic. It was the sister ship that was older.
Is that true?
Yeah, there's actually a conspiracy out about them.
Well,
we need to hit it on Sip and Solve.
So I did. First off, Megan, there's a lot of them, but I watched the 11-minute one on Paramount Plus, where it was like the three-person series, I think.
I spent probably 4 hours on YouTube. I mean, there were so many different videos.
Here's what I don't understand. And after all this, I mean, I wrote this script out for us to read it, right? I struggled. I wrote 4 different things, and they all differed from each other. So my goal was, you know what? Let's just write it about Stephen Paddock, what I know, and let's write about the fact that we need some fucking help here, figuring out how to save people's fucking lives. But here's the deal. Nothing made fucking sense. Listen, my kids go to school. A lot of y'all's kids go to school, right? Your son goes to school. My wife's a school teacher. I fear every day some psychopath's going to do something fucking stupid. And beyond every conspiracy, beyond anything else, I just want to know, how do you prevent that? How do you prevent, how do I get my fucking family home safe every day? You know what I mean? It is, how at the end of the day do we make that happen? Is it preventing people getting guns? Is it because in my neck of the woods, from what I understand, if I want a gun, I'm gonna get it.
Exactly. And Sturge, we hit on this earlier, especially with his wealth. It didn't matter if he was obtaining them legally or not. With that much money, he was going to have the weapons. He was going to have the ammunition. He was going to make it happen, whether he obtained them legal or not.
So how do you prevent? How do you save lives?
I got, he acquired all this stuff in a year's time. And we're not talking just high-powered rifle. We're talking handguns. I mean, he had 2 SIGs.
Right.
Also, you would surely think that all your paperwork that runs through the ATF, they would throw a red flag for that many guns being bought at one time.
Hold on, Peanut. Let me hit you with this. Ohio.
We're not talking Ohio.
No, just let me say this. We all 3 own guns, right?
Yeah.
No.
No, just hear me out. I'm saying hypothetically, we all 3 own guns.
No.
Say Joe schmo reaches out to each one of us individually and wants to buy a gun. As a private seller, you do not have to go through those licenses or background checks. You can legally sell a gun to somebody privately.
That's not 100% true.
In Ohio, yes, it is.
First off, it's not true. If you end up selling it to a felon, you're in trouble.
No, I'm getting to that.
You are supposed to make sure that they are not a felon before you sell that. You're supposed to make sure that they have the right to own a gun. Now, is it illegal for you to do that? No, it's not. But if you end up selling it to a gun to somebody that's not supposed to own one, then you are liable.
No, I'm saying if you ask the questions,
I agree, Daniel.
And they check all the boxes. They say they're not a felon. They don't have any criminal history and everything. And you sell them the weapon with the pretenses that they are allowed to own a gun. It is legal in Ohio for private sales.
But my point is,
this is a gun store going through the ATF.
Right.
You know, that many guns and that much ammo, because he bought a lot of the guns at the same store. So, you know, there's a reoccurring. I mean, crying out loud, you sell more than 5 cars, they're after your ass
100%.
for this and that. If you don't have
they want their money.
Right. You don't have a license to do it.
What I keep getting at is if he wanted the weapons, he would have had them.
Okay,
so
but the problem is he bought it legally.
But and I agree. And here's the question. You keep saying my question is this: the biggest fucking question of it all. Let's go back to Sandy Hook, the elementary school in Newtown, Connecticut. 26 people were killed that day. Okay, 20 of those victims were children between 6 and 7 years old. The other 6 were adult staff. I don't give a flying fucking shit if the gun was bought legally or whether they bought it in Ohio on a private fucking sale. Start thinking outside the box of the purchase of the gun. Start thinking inside the box or outside the box on preventing it when they come onto the fucking premises to create an issue. I'm sorry to tell you, the Sandy Hook preventable.
You know, it's
not.
I agree.
20 kids, between 6 and 7 did not have to die that day.
And I agree.
None of the kids should have.
I don't give a fuck how they bought the gun, legally, illegally, off grandma, stole it from dad. Doesn't fucking matter. There should be preventative. Well, I mean, in today's day and age, why are there not metal detectors in casinos?
And that's what I was about to hit
they're
on.
like, oh, well, it's got the big red sign with the X around it that says no guns allowed. It doesn't stop.
Anywhere that serves alcohol, it is illegal to carry a firearm.
It doesn't matter.
I'm agreeing with you right there. That. If it's illegal to do it, put the measures in place that stops it from coming in. That's what I'm saying.
Now,
but you keep saying you're like, well, here in Ohio, you can buy the. I don't care how the gun's purchased.
I don't care how it's purchased.
I don't give a fuck if you buy it from a cocaine dealer.
If you can't have it in there, put measures in place where it doesn't get in.
Okay, let me just put this for now. I'm probably going to get a bunch of backlash on this.
I agree, Daniel. I agree, dude. I'm sorry. Well, I completely agree, Daniel. It needs. I literally. We've had this conversation before. I fucking fear every day. I know you do. Is my 5-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 31-year-old, 32-year-old wife coming home today? And if they do, are they going to have to go through fucking therapy the rest of their fucking life because what they went through at school? Do fucking better. You know what? Fuck the government. Fuck the fact that all they want to do is bitch and fucking moan about gun rights and how to get the guns. Fuck you guys. Do your fucking job. All the money that you're putting together to fight all these fucking things with the guns, you can put laws in place to where you have to have one entry point, one exit point in a fucking school. You put a fucking metal detector. You know what? I don't want to go there because they have metal detectors. Well, you're going to have to fight your fucking way in.
Well, I know a lot of the schools now, you got to buzz yourself in.
Right. Okay. So did Sandy Hook Elementary School. Guess what?
They buzzed
them in, or they shoot the fucking glass in. Because guess what? Let me tell you something, Peanut. My wife's school last year or 2 years ago that she was taught at she taught there for 8 years, didn't even have fucking doors in their school, in their classrooms.
Well, Sturge, we've hit on this.
Isn't that fucked up? She taught in classrooms that didn't even have fucking doors in.
just let me finish before you go off here.
I'm not trying to go off. I'm just.
I know. I'm just let me finish because you may go off on this one. We're all looking at the government to do something. You know, maybe it starts at home in the houses. I mean, Christ, when I was a kid, you could go with your shotgun in the back damn window.
Same here.
Well, that Peanut,
What's changed from our time to this time?
Peanut.
Other than parents are getting lazier and not pushing, you know, oh, I can't beat my kid's ass because, you know, they'll call the cops on me.
Okay.
Peanut, I agree with you there, because what I was about to say is it's a damn shame that kids these days have to go through active shooting situations.
Mhm.
When we were kids, what do? The only situation we went through, if there's a tornado, you go in the hallway and you tuck your head.
And cover it. Cover your neck.
You know what's even more sad about that is the fact that my 5-year-old doesn't even understand why they're sheltering in place.
Yeah.
You understand that?
Yeah.
So they don't even understand that. I think Megan Jones just put in here a little bit ago that she just had one today and they just got locked down. Listen, guys. And I think we can all agree with this. You're not going to stop piece of shit fuckheads from making bad decisions. Daniel just said decline of moral values. Listen, guess what? A tragic event just happened in our fucking neighborhood. I don't want to hit this too much because it's a horrible fucking situation. But it's not always just, it's how do these kids get guns in their fucking hand? Maybe it isn't mom and dad's gun. Maybe guess what? You don't think that there's bad things where good parents have shitty things happen with their kids? It happens. It happens. There are good, like, there, you know what? There's a lot of serial killers that have become serial killers that had good home lives. I don't give a fuck about any. Okay, more discipline, more this, more that. How do I prevent these fucking people that make the decision of going into a place and killing fucking little kids, going to a mall and shooting it the fuck up, going into a college, shooting it the fuck up, going to Las Vegas and shooting up a fucking. How many people were at that fucking thing? Thousands?
Thousands and thousands.
How do you, okay, let's just say there's no stopping bad people with guns. Let's just say there's no way to stop that. We already know there's no stopping that. How do you prevent it? Let's say it's in action. How do you save 50 lives?
Well, the sad part is most of American people are, most of the younger generation American people are so out of touch with reality. I mean, you got kids that sit there playing video games 24/7. We got kids that,
back talk their fucking parents and don't get in here.
Not just that, they're thinking they're cats and dogs and using litter pans and this and that. If I did something like that, my mom would have busted my damn ass
Funny
up
story.
against the wall or something.
I think it was last year or the year before. I'm at Kroger's. We're in the freezer section. And my wife looks at my son and says, "Stop putting your hands on them freezer doors." And I think I said something along the lines as, someone's got to wipe them off. Someone's got a job. They got to wipe them off because you can't listen to your mom. She says it again. He looks back, dude, says something smart, right? I yank him, whoop his ass in that aisle right then and there. Then I pull him away, go to walk around to the bathroom because guess what? I'm going to yank him in the bathroom. I'll beat his ass in there too. Because one, your mom, you're not going to disrespect your mom. Ain't going to happen. Damn sure ain't going to do it in the middle of Kroger's. This woman stops me and tells me, "You don't need to do that in this." Well, guess what? Fuck you. I don't. My son's going to disrespect my wife. Disrespect me. He's getting an ass whooping. Now,
women like that, they're not disciplining. A timeout ain't going to work. Oh, let's do a timeout. Honey, let's take a timeout. That don't work. So these kids think, "Oh, I do this. I just get a little timeout."
Well, they're scared.
They're not.
You see these guys
reality.
that were a part of these, like the one in Florida. Was it Parkland?
Yeah.
Yep.
That dude was laughing in court. Laughing.
Yeah.
Like
fucking kid. He's laughing. Why? What are you going to do? Put me in jail? That's all you're going to do. You're going to put me in prison for the rest of my life. I don't give a fuck. So the question that I still have that's not been answered, if you can answer it in the comments, go for it. We can say parents are doing it right. Schools ain't doing it right. Kids can piss in litter boxes now. Blah, 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 blah. Guess what? Stephen Paddock wasn't pissing in a litter box. Stephen Paddock wasn't fucking a little kid. Stephen Paddock was born in 1953, April 9th, 1953, and lived a fucking good life, supposedly, was a millionaire, but yet killed 50-something people, injured over 800. Again, what can we do? When something like this is in action, what can you do to eliminate the issue right then and there? How can you prevent it? I've still yet to see one answer from the government, from the podcast, from people in the comments. I want to know, what is everyone's opinion? How the fuck can you prevent it? And if it does happen, how can you save lives before anything else? That's the question. I don't care how they get the gun. I don't care if mom and dad were good parents. I don't give a shit how any of that. I want to know, how do we prevent kids' lives being saved in school? How do you prevent people from a concert? You know,
I mean, Sturge, I felt very strongly about the school thing for a while. My biggest answer for schools, put an armed veteran in every school.
Okay, what about the Las Vegas shooting, though? There was plenty of cops
a hotel and casino, instead of just checking an ID, have a metal detector.
And they also have their own fucking law enforcement in those casinos.
Have a metal detector.
Well, not just that. I mean, it should have started from near square one. He's in there buying all these guns. It should have automatically
a red flag at least
triggered a red flag. And as a gun store owner, this guy acted, would not make eye contact, stared at the ground. I mean, he
sell him the gun, but call somebody.
Several red flags. I do believe, as a FLA dealer, you have the right to.
I would hope
say
so.
No.
Peanut, I would hope so. I would think.
You think this FLA licensed dealer would notice these signs of, like, something ain't quite right here, especially after he's been there, the way he acts, and he's been there several times, about several guns. As a dealer and having a license to do that, it should be a major red flag. And hey, maybe I ought to contact somebody.
Yeah.
The ATF, they're a federal agency. You mean to tell me the ATF can't go to the FBI and
the ATF's a fucking joke.
Look at this guy. They're going to pull all this stuff up and put it together. I mean,
ATF's a fucking joke. I mean, you can see all the things that they've butchered life. I don't. Do you remember Waco, Texas? They butchered that. A bunch of fucking people died because they're ignorant. So I don't do it. I mean, ATF joke. But was that a guitar song? Oh, you dumbass. So, let's see. Mass shadow. You can't prevent a switch from flipping in someone. The hotel camera failed to monitor consistent. Out with the bag. Can we pull that comment up? Mass Shadows comment. I actually think that's good. I don't know if you're still busy. If Doug's out there, I'd love you for to join. But listen, guys, at the end of the day, do our kids have the right to go to school and come back home?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have the right to go Christmas shopping at a mall and come home?
Yeah.
Do we have the right to go to a concert and come home?
Absolutely.
How do we make sure that that's a possible? Okay, do you got to get to everywhere a little bit earlier, because guess what? Now you got to go through medical detectors and all these other things to get into these things. If that's what you got to do,
why not?
Why not?
I mean, in the world today, I'm a CCW holder. I carry everywhere I go, just because of that situation.
Daniel, I understand that. I get that, buddy. The question I'm asking is, let's just throw out gun control completely and figure out how to prevent or to stop a mass shooting. We already know people are going to get that they want it.
Daniel, right. he went to the same gun store. So, I mean, it wasn't like he was bouncing a lot of locations. Most of his guns were purchases from one gun store.
And that's what you were saying. You were like, where's the red flag?
Yeah.
And he keeps going back.
I mean, there was a couple other stores he went to, but, most of them was purchased at one store.
Hey, Wesley Lane, that's not true. I went to 2 different camping festivals, and my car didn't get searched one time. I went with Justin Marlin twice. My car did not go through. Dude, I pulled in there, showed them at the gate. I showed them my pass. They pointed me where to park and set my tent, and I was in.
I was about to say it wasn't a camping festival, but I went to who was it? Luke Bryan's farm tour.
Yeah.
They park you in the middle of a farm where's there to run if something happens?
Right.
You show your ticket, they park you in the field, and then you're free roam.
Yeah, you're literally in the middle of a field.
You're in the middle of a fucking cornfield. How many people could you take out there if you had something?
Now, how about if we just everyone, hey, you want to carry a gun, do it? How many people would lay a motherfucker out when they start?
Well,
you might lose some lives.
The biggest thing that comes to mind when you say that, Sturge, is have you seen the video? There was a church in Texas, I believe, where someone pulled a gun, and it's a very clear image that 6 or 7 different people pull a gun and kill him before he gets a shot off.
I love that.
Yeah, that was. I remember that.
I do. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, there was another case there in Texas where there was a CCW holder, I believe it was in a barber shop across the street.
Yeah.
The cops were waiting to go in,
and he just went.
He just went right in there and shot the guy.
Okay, so I just got a message on my phone. I'm not going to say who. They just brought up the ATF. I was dogging the ATF. They must be offended by that. I'm going to respond.
What'd they say?
Okay, so the ATFs, they're part of the government. It's tobacco, firearms, alcohol, tobacco, firearms. I want you to research Waco, Texas. ATF fucking
they
butchered
dropped
that.
the ball on that one. What was the one right after it? The same guy.
So, yeah. Listen, if you first off, if you think the government's here to help you, you got some searching to do. You got some soul searching to do.
They're all about themselves.
I shouldn't go into this.
No. I will a little bit. ATF is another.
I know, Wesley, but you said
it depends on the host. Yeah,
you said that you seem if you're going to, you gotta. It's not every festival because I've been to multiple. Ruby Ridge, Wesley's, the Ruby Ridge. That's right.
That was the second one.
Ruby
Same
Ridge.
Guy.
But Sturge, I
same agent.
Let me hit on the ATF real quick.
Go ahead.
It's another government organization that profits. And I mean that by, is there anything wrong, in your guys' opinion,
Daniel, that's when you
with
know there's
owning
problem.
a silencer?
No.
But what do you have to do to own a silencer through the ATF?
You got to buy the stamp.
Which is thousands of dollars.
There's a lot cheaper ways to make one.
It is.
You could buy it costs more for the stamp than it does to buy the silencer.
I didn't know that was a thing.
It is.
Yeah.
So you can't buy a silencer for a gun unless it has a stamp?
Yes,
exactly.
You have to get a
stamp
through the ATF to say that you are legally allowed to own a silencer.
Then the FLA dealer
it's a money
can sell you
mongrel thing.
Oh, for sure.
Then they could sell you the silencer, but they got to wait till that stamp comes back after you pay $1,000 for that stamp to go buy $1,000.
Silencers aren't what killing people.
No, I agree with that. But Peanut, there's a workaround to that? What's the definition of a silencer through the ATF? Something that you can put on and take off.
Yeah.
If you weld it on, it is not technically
Removable.
a silencer. It's not removable.
I just think
that's a gray zone, though.
No, it's not.
You could
no,
fight
it is
on
not.
that
I've
one.
talked to someone that has worked there.
Can we agree with this, though? The government is not here to save our lives.
No, they're there to make money.
ATF stands for alcohol, tobacco, and fuck ups.
Yeah. I forgot about Ruby. We should.
It was Ruby Ridge right after Waco. Same agent.
We should dive in next week. We're going to do Waco and Ruby Ridge.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
It's the same agent that did them both.
And we should tag ATF.
I will.
Well, then we're going to be like.
We already are. Shut up. We already are.
Fucking hit list for them now.
Tuesday. I want to bring up a topic.
Okay.
It falls into the alcohol, tobacco, firearms. Did you just to hit on it really fast? Did you guys see what Kentucky did this past week?
No.
They did an auction of moonshine, bourbon, and whiskey that was confiscated from people that owned it illegally.
Owned what illegally? I'm lost.
Bourbon, whiskey, and moonshine. They auctioned it off to people because they had it confiscated.
The government?
Yes.
That
Dude,
makes
my
sense.
dad told me about it driving home the other day, and I died. I was like, no way. There's no way they just did that.
That's insane. Does it surprise me? No.
Oh, as long as you pay the taxes on it to them, it's not illegal.
As long as they
no
get their
more.
money, baby.
Exactly.
That's why they're not worried about if you can buy 60 guns in a month.
Wes, that's what I was just talking about. As long as you weld it on, it's not considered.
Why wasn't an eye on the auction list? Come on. What?
I know. I wish I was.
What's Hydro Man saying?
He said, no way. Why wasn't an eye on that auction list? Come on, guys. Why wasn't Hydro? I didn't know anything about it. My dad told me about it.
I don't know the fuck
I looked it up. He's talking about the Kentucky auction list. No one around here knew about it. Like, my dad told me about it. I Googled it, and it was a real thing.
I'm still waiting on that one comment that's like, you know what? That'll solve all the problems.
I don't think
I don't
there
think
is
there's
any
an
one
answer.
thing that will solve all the
Okay,
problems.
what'd you say?
There's not one thing that's going to solve all the problems.
Say that again.
Nothing's going to solve all the problems.
So
Not
put the
one thing.
weapons in people's hands and let them make the decision.
Yes, sir.
Yep. I mean, look, all you're going to do, you could push for taking these guns away. All you're going to do is take the guns out of legally owned people's hands that legally own them. Criminals are still going to have them.
Sturge, there's
I
a
mean,
reason
they're criminals. They ain't supposed to have them anyways, and they got them now.
I will always live by the saying, I would rather be judged by a jury than buried by my friends.
You know what saying I'm feeling in my brain?
Yep.
You know what saying I'm feeling?
What's that?
There's a saying, and I'm gonna fuck it up.
That's why I didn't say my exact saying.
So
I got a saying I could say is fuck around to find out.
hold on, I gotta look it up.
But am I wrong? I would rather be judged by a jury than buried by
Yeah.
my friends and family.
Exactly. I'll take my chances in the court. It might not turn out that way, but hey,
Wes said,
at least I won't be
stay
buried.
strapped or get clapped.
That's right. That is right. The only ones that's going to protect you is yourself.
All right, you ready?
Look at the response times of law enforcement.
For sure.
They're doing their best to get there, but I mean, it takes seconds, and it's going to take them. They can't be that way in a second. It's going to take them minutes to hours.
So here's the way that I look as an American. And my grandpa, he told me this multiple different times, different occasions. Rest in peace. He used to tell me this. The only thing necessary for triumph of evil is good men to do nothing. So
Yeah.
put them guns in people's hands, and good people will do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen it a couple years ago. You saw there was that guy in the mall. He had a gun. I think it might have been St. Louis or something. He was going around. He's about to fucking lay out some people. There was an ex-Marine or a veteran, not an ex-Marine, but like a veteran.
Right.
Dude had a hammer on him. Pulled that bitch out, shot him straight in the dome piece. Guess one person died. Guess who else died? Nobody else.
Yeah. And as far as the school shootings and that, I've seen some schools do it, and I think it's an amazing idea, and it's the best way of defense.
Okay.
Let's train some of these teachers.
Oh, for sure.
Let them carry.
And I'm gonna tell you, this is a good Wesley Lane. What do you think about the mental health aspect of this stuff? Okay. Where's the last week's script? Throw that on the table. That's what I've been asking the last 2 weeks. Right?
No, he's being hypothetical.
I'll throw it on there.
Throw it on the fucking table.
But
That's what I'm asking. You got like the mental, like this is all what I mean, I put it in here. What we need to talk about is mental health.
That's just it.
And
The guns aren't killing people.
But why is there so many more? First off, active shootings have happened all since guns have been a thing. It all started like when media started really hitting on this stuff, that the first thing we heard of and was Columbine High School,
Right.
Yeah.
The two kids shooting up the school. It was fucking terrible,
And it was like a chain reaction from there.
and it was.
They were doing it for notoriety.
But mental fucking health, dude. There was multiple kids that knew those kids that knew they were fucking trouble. Those kids had mental issues.
So Sturge,
Where's the line on mental health? That's a good question. You got angry last week. Take all the weapon. Wait,
no, he's saying, where's the line on mental health? You get angry last week. Do we take all your guns?
you got angry last week. What does that mean?
He's saying hypothetically, like mental health. You get angry, you have a mental breakdown.
I thought
last
you said
week.
I got angry. I probably
No,
did.
he's saying if you have a mental breakdown this week, should government take all your guns from you?
Well, here's the thing. If you end up buying fucking 30 guns in a month, then yeah, I mean, you should probably look into it.
Hey, Serge, you and I've had this debate before, but can I debate Peanut real
I mean,
quick?
yeah, sure. But last week we talked about the guy Peanut. We talked about the Christmas shooting. He was purchasing those weapons within a month's period.
Yep.
You look at this week's. Turn that ringer
Within
off.
a month period.
Turn the ringer off.
ringer.
You're dinging over there.
And then
I don't even have no volume.
this week's same thing. So I think there's like, as far as it goes, I think like when somebody's like gets a plan in their brain, they try to put it in action. They legally do it. If you're buying legally, and you're buying 10 guns in a month,
right.
should probably put a red flag and sit them down and figure out what's going on.
All right, Sturge, I'm going to set some ground rules on this debate really quick.
Okay.
Me and you have already debated this, so I don't want to hear your opinion on this. I want to hear Peanuts.
Okay.
You
Let's
just
do it.
said,
You know he's gonna get into it. Okay.
no,
Let's
this is
do it.
between you and I.
And then Levi wants to say something.
Okay, you just said teachers with guns, right?
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
Well, that's our first line of defense for our kids.
But let me hit you with this. What's a teacher's job?
To teach.
To
And
teach
protect
every
our kids.
kid to the best of their ability and
I'm
think.
going to debate the fuck
Hold
out
on.
of you then.
Hold on, and to think the best of all the kids, right?
Yeah.
My line on that.
Who told
is-
you that? Wait, time out. To think of the best of every kid. I don't think that's the case. It's use common
No.
fucking sense.
But
Yeah.
hold on.
No, I think
I
that's
told you to stay
stupid.
out of this
I
real
think
quick.
what you just
Come
said
on.
was
Let's
stupid,
go
dude.
with this. I got you.
So my line on it is if you put a veteran in every school with a gun,
There was one in Florida, Parkland, and he literally ran away from the shooting, and he was a veteran.
okay.
He was a veteran.
I mean, regardless, you put a veteran in there
The
regardless.
first line of defense is it is your teacher. How do you know those teachers? How do you know some of them aren't veterans?
Look at every
Saying that.
look at every school shooting. Teachers died trying to protect.
Literally shielded them.
So
Shielded them.
with
I know you're a veteran. I know you would protect
With the
kids, but not
proper-
all of them will.
with the proper
do
training, with the proper training,
I was trying to. bring
that
the
is our
point, you
best
didn't let me
first
get
line
to
of
it.
Go ahead.
defense.
Go ahead.
So Peanut,
Instead of crying, just end up finishing it. It's
No.
all good.
I told you to stay out of it for a reason, so I could see his reaction.
My wife's a teacher. It's a little
I
touchy.
get it.
You don't think? I mean,
That's why I told you
would
to
like
shut up for a second.
No,
All right, come on, let's bring it on. Bring it on. I'll debate. I mean,
So the reason why I bring up veterans, if a teacher was to go out during an active shooter event
yeah,
and they see the kid in their class holding a gun,
yeah.
is there a chance they hesitate?
No,
You don't think so?
no.
is there a chance a veteran could?
There's a chance anybody could.
I'm just saying. You keep
If
saying
it-
what I'm trying
No,
to say was wrong.
I'm
What
agreeing
saying-
with you.
As
I was
any-
just seeing his point on it.
As anybody, especially with the proper training, this and that, their job is to protect them kids like they're their kids.
Right. But
that
that's
teacher,
their kid too.
that teacher is going to shoot.
But that's their kid too.
Yeah, but if a little crazy ass
And they're
has a
gonna-
gun,
And they're gonna.
am I
their
going to
first
kill
response
one
is
or am I
save.
going to let him kill hundreds?
Right. And
You're
Serge,
gonna
I
pull the
agree with you
trigger.
too. I just wanted to see his response to it.
Yeah, I mean, rather you're a veteran. If you're trained, you're trained. It don't matter if you're a veteran or not. If you've had the training, it's going to work
It does.
the same way.
Listen,
It does.
do I
matter.
want my wife to have to fucking shoot somebody inside of a school or somebody that's had 2 tours in Iraq? The guy that's got 2 tours in Iraq
Can
that's
deal with
making
it.
back can deal with it. Now, what I am saying, a better question is, should we put our teachers in that situation?
No. And that's where I'm getting at.
Then you better
Don't-
put more than one fucking officer at each fucking school. There's 4 floors, I think, including the main floor. I think there's either 2 more floors above in our high school or 3 more. You really think one officer is going to do that?
No,
There's 1 officer at our school.
no.
There should be more
Throw
than
3
one
or 4
person.
veterans in there. Guarantee somebody thinks differently before they pick that school.
If you put a sign out there, our school is protected by veterans, do you think someone's going to think twice before they go in there?
And Wesley, you're
But-
right. Some teachers are willing, some are not. Okay, then put the ones that are willing. Put like at least give these. I asked a question. You brought a good point up. I wasn't trying to be a dick, but I was just saying. I believe
No, I knew
one
your
of the
stance
school
on it.
shootings, the guy was a veteran.
Right. I knew your stance on it. That's
He
why
actually lost his job because he refused to go into the school after the school shooter.
fuck
but-
that guy.
I agree. But with that being said, the question was, how do you prevent it? Or I guess, can you prevent them? Probably not. Can you limit the life loss? I think so. And if that means giving a social study teacher that's close to the front door, the back door, or here and there, you put a couple of those on each floor with the chance and the opportunity to prevent more lives from being lost, I'm with you.
With the
No.
proper training, and
7 out of 10 times. I listen, proper training or not. If I got my CCW and I see it, I'm going to do what I can. If you break in my
Exactly.
fucking house, I've never shot somebody. I'm not that great of a shot. To be honest with you, I'm not a bragger, right? I am, but I'm not on my shooting skills.
Right.
Not a great shooter. I've told you guys that. I go squirrel hunting. I pray to God I'm not tearing up that meat because I'm who knows where the fuck I'm shooting. But I'll tell you this right now. I'm gonna give it my damnness. I'm gonna give it my fucking damnness. And I
Oh,
know
yeah.
for a fucking fact there's a lot of teachers in that school. Janitors,
100%.
janitors.
And Sturge, there's one-
principals. I've seen these principals at my wife's school. Dude, when I tell you how proud of that school that they are, dude, I don't give a fuck who's holding that gun. Them boys,
They're
them
going to do
girls.
what it is to
and
protect. her.
Sturge, this is one thing you can agree with what I'm about to say. I have advocated life and day for veterans to be in schools. One thing I've never said is that teachers should not be armed.
Yeah.
Your first line of defense should be people
Okay,
that are
I'm not
there
gonna-
to do that.
I'm not going to
But-
mention the guy at the school or I'm talking about, but he's like 6'9". Dude, I feel safe when I'm around him. Like you can already tell. Dude, I seen him in action at a movie theater one time on a field trip, and I could see like he's super strict, right? But I could see the love that he looked at them kids like they're his own. And if you don't think that he would do that, all right, let Levi wants in on this. for a
Levi's
second.
been passionate about something.
I need your headset.
What do you need a headset?
You don't need a headset to talk.
Okay. I want to hear my own levels. So
We don't need to hear your
I-
own level.
Doesn't sound good, but you don't sound good on mic. It's fine.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
okay. So what I got to say about high school is obviously I'm in high school and we have one school resource officer. Great guy. But I think if certain teachers that have CCWs or have proper training have like a safe in their classroom where they could grab a weapon if they needed to, I think that would help a lot.
Safe hell. What
that's
good is that
safe.
going to do?
What's that
Carry
gonna
it.
do when somebody just storms in your fucking room and you don't realize it? Safe ain't gonna do shit.
I mean, if you're
I mean-
carrying it concealed, students ain't going to know what teachers are on.
Yeah, you don't tell them who it is.
Well, of course not.
And you conceal it. Students don't know because you don't want the students to know.
Hey, sorry, Bob. Give me 1 second. Let me pop open this safe.
I mean, you're talking
Where'd I put it?
it's a CCW. It's a concealed weapons permit. You don't want people to see it. It's supposed to be
not.
hidden.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Well, I mean,
Yeah, let me ask you this.
the
Does it
safe's going to
worry you?
prevent.
Huh?
When you go to school, do you ever think about that?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm allowed outside of the classroom, like outside of the whole school, to go to my truck. Say I want to grab a charger or whatever. All I have to do is ask if I can go to my truck. They let me out. I go right back in.
You mean go
Yeah.
to my truck?
Yeah, my truck.
His
But I have
truck.
to say my truck at school.
No, I
Come
do
on now.
understand what you're saying. Though, how easy
But-
would it be to come back in with a gun?
Easy. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And I feel like that comes to the
That was my
actual
point.
school.
That's the problem.
I feel like
That's
that
the
comes to an
point.
actual school. Because I just walk in free will. Right back. Say I had
How
a gun in
new
my
is your
waistband.
school?
Huh?
How new is your
Brand new. It
school?
was built
That's
my
another
freshman
point.
year. So 3 years ago.
So they're not
No metal
following the
detectors,
guidelines.
no nothing.
They're not following guidelines.
That's around my school, I guess. But other schools, I don't know how theirs are. I've been in the same school district my entire life, but
I'd love to ask teachers.
Well, not just the sad part now is you got more and more schools. Like his school, it's a K through 12.
yeah.
You got every grade in one school.
So I feel like there's more safety precautions taken. Like I'm well known in my school. Everybody knows me. I know I'm a good student, whatever. A good person, not really a good student.
Yeah, you
But-
suck as a student. You are a good
And a
person.
person.
Wow.
No, Dylan said
Great
that.
person.
My goal for this episode was not to go over an hour. We're over it. I want to give people a chance to, respond, which they can do, and comments and all that good stuff. So let's end this episode. This was a good one, and next week be prepared because we're going to go Ruby Ridge and Waco, Texas on the next one.
Oh yeah.
I need to do some research
Alcohol,
on Ruby, but I know
tobacco,
Waco.
and
But guys,
fuckers.
again, I want to thank you for joining us on this. I guess we can say heavy. It's a heavy but vital journey, and if you found this conversation, meaningful, share it with other people. They may not believe or agree on everything we're saying. Maybe they have their own ideas, which is fine. But join us the next time we get on here next Friday for our sipping. I think Shay, our sipping and solve, and as we explore another, way of the American life over a glass of whiskey. But until then, guys, we want you to stay safe, stay informed, and take care. I'm Big Sturge.
I'm Justice League.
And I'm the peanut.
And who are we?
American
Whiskey.